My name is Judy Durst, and I'm the Director of Education for the Big I of New Hampshire. I've been in the insurance business about 45 years, and I've been teaching insurance for many years.
My name's Katie. I'm from the New Hampshire Association of Insurance Agents.
And we're so glad that you could join us today.
Today we have John Chapin with us, and we'll be going over what he is going to be presenting at our virtual convention held September 28th and 29th. John is a sales representative in New England, and he works with part-time with several independent agencies, insurance agencies, and insurance companies. So John, I'm actually going to have you take it away. Tell us a little bit about yourself, about what you do, and what you're passionate about.
Okay, thank you. So, so basically, I'm a sales expert, 33 years basically of sales and sales management experience. And these days, what I do is that's training, coaching, speaking. These days, 80% of what I do is in the insurance industry. So what that means is on a part-time basis, I coach commercial lines agents, personal lines agents, again, from a sales standpoint. I also speak at a bunch of the conventions around the country. I write a monthly sales article for about 200 insurance publications around the country. And basically what I do is help people, agencies increase sales. So most recently, I had an agent who's been in the business 18 years who increased his sales in the last year working with me 638%. Wow. I had another one who's been out there 12 years who increased his sales by 244% in a year. So bottom line, that's what I do is I help agencies and agents these days rapidly and significantly increase sales.
Very nice. So you're going to be with us this year at our virtual convention, giving a presentation on all these things that you've helped all these other agents with, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your presentation, just a little bit to let us know what we're going to be seeing?
Sure. It's basically going to be how do you increase your sales in any situation? Good market, bad market, pandemic, recession, depression, I don't know really anything. But the point is there are always companies, salespeople, agents, agencies, doesn't matter what's going on in the economy, what's going on in the market, what's going on anywhere else or anything else in the world, who are always above everybody else, who always seem to sell more, do more, still break records, be over and above everybody else. So basically what I'm going to talk about is a number one sales rep in 3 industries myself, and having been through 9/11 and been through the Great Recession of 2008, going through the stock market crash when I was a stockbroker a month before the crash in 1987. And how do you, again, overcome that? And how do you rapidly increase sales in regardless of anything? And then I'll talk about some things specific to the pandemic and kind of what I've seen the unsuccessful doing and what I've seen the very successful doing. Because when I threw out the numbers earlier, the 638% and the 244% increase, a quarter of that was during the quote unquote pandemic. So that was from May of last year to the end of May of this year. So it was basically March, April, and May of those months where, obviously they were in the pandemic and yet they were still increasing sales and still going up. So that's basically what I'm going to talk about is, again, how to increase sales in any situation, but specifically regarding the pandemic.
Nice. You seem very passionate about this topic.
It's something I've been doing forever. It's something I like a lot. I get great results from it. And it's funny to see, the people that I affect and how their lives are affected, how their businesses are affected. And so it becomes pretty infectious. Yeah, it's a good feeling all the way around.
Oh yeah. I mean, why get into an industry if you're not happy about being there?
Well, yeah, and it's the results overall. And as we know, how someone's business goes, their life their personal life goes, and kind of vice versa. And a lot of times, if you're struggling in business, because we're at work, more waking hours than we are at home, right? So if more waking hours, you're miserable because you're not doing great at work, and maybe the owner, the agency owner's on you, or something else is going on, and you're feeling a lot of pressure, and then you go home, and I don't know, hopefully you're not kicking the dog or doing stuff like that, but it drops in every other area of your life. It drops into your communication with your kids, with your significant other. You're a lot more stressed. So all of a sudden, when that turns the corner and that's going great, it really lifts up the rest of your life. And it's just great to see people who, were under stress, who were feeling bad, who were down, and now, they're at the top of the game. They have their confidence is back. They're feeling good. It feels good all the way around. It really does.
Oh, yeah. So with this pandemic going on and everything, I'm sure you've seen a lot of ups and downs in people's sales patterns and whatnot. What was one thing that you would find positive moving forward after the pandemic from people's sales tactics and like in sales in general?
Yeah, well, I always say that one of the best things, one of the things I like best about a pandemic or recession, anything quote unquote bad out there, which, I don't know if this is good or bad. We'll know once it comes out of my mouth. But generally speaking, people don't usually like change. People don't like bad events. They don't, they think life's tough enough already. Now we got this darn pandemic right on top of it. And I know the mental effect that's going to have on most people. Most people are going to back off. The average agent, the average salesperson actually across industries cuts calls, cuts activity by 37%. When we have a difficult market, when we have a recession, when we have a pandemic, when we have anything. Why? Because mentally you get down, you figure people don't want to take your call, you back off, and as a result, you're feeling down, your sales automatically go down. So what I try to impress upon my agents is I say, now's the time to get out there. Because let's face it, during a pandemic, most people had more time on their hands as opposed to less. Yeah. Now, all of a sudden, they're able to sit there and look at things they haven't had time to look at before. So personally, my basement got cleaned for the first time in 22 years.
Wow.
So, and then next thing I'm cleaning my closets. I'm doing other things. I'm reading books I hadn't been able to read forever, right? Well, business owners that the agents are going after are in a lot of the same situation. They're backing off. There's less activity going on in general, just because agents are backing off. Everyone's backing off. You send everybody home maybe. And so they're kind of in a wait and see mode. And so what happens is there's more time for people to think about insurance, to evaluate their insurance. So I basically told the agents, I said, look, we've got to shift how we're reaching people and reaching out to people, because in the beginning, you can necessarily do it face to face. Okay. But I said, so we've got to be calling, we've got to be emailing, we've got to be mailing things out, we've got to be doing other types of, outreach or whatever. But now is the time to get out there and reach out, because everyone else is backing off. Everyone else is trying to figure out what's going on. Everyone's maybe a little depressed, and so they're not doing anything. And I said, now's the time to leapfrog the competition and go out there, because I know, I've seen the history, like I said, in 33 years, that people are going to back off by 37%. So now's the time when you want to do the opposite of that. You want to be contrarian. You basically want to increase by 37, 50, 100%, whatever you can do. So you really want to increase your activity.
Nice. And do you say that this would go forward for every type of recession, or any bad thing that happens? This is the same thing that people should be doing every time, not just in this case scenario.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And things are going to change as far as your approach might change. Okay, so, pre-COVID, when I had somebody reaching out to somebody, I tell them, look, when you reach out to somebody, they're thinking two things. They're thinking, who is this and what do you want? So you're giving them, name, agency name, and then boom, you're hitting them, from their favorite radio station, WIIFM, what's in it for me to talk to you. Okay, so you got to hit them with a benefit right off the bat. The one thing that changed is, I started giving them some softer calls, if you will. So they would call and say, look, I know it might seem strange hearing from somebody about insurance right now with what's going on. Okay. So the only thing that changed was the approach, but the approach is always action, always take more action. It's the one thing where, business sales is the one thing where you never back off. I had somebody quoting Sun Tzu, The Art of War once, and they said, well, know when to fight and know when to back off, and sales is kind of the same way. And I said, well, it is, but sales is never back off. You don't back off. You continue to communicate with people, and back off doesn't mean in your face, rude, obnoxious. What it means is to communicate, to continue to reach out to people. So what I told my agents originally was I said, you need to reach out to your top, pick your top clients and go right down the list, but you need to reach them as soon as possible, as quickly as possible, and let them know you are there. Because again, I know most people are going to have a fear response, including the agents, and they're not going to be reaching out. So first thing you do is that. And then next, look at your targets, look at your key prospects, and you need to reach out to them and find out where they are. Ask how they're doing, how you do. Now you're not asking that because people are sick and tired of hearing about the pandemic. Okay. But in the beginning, you want to ask how they're doing, how their family's doing, how everything else is doing. Check in, have that empathy, and then say, so how do you want to move forward? But action is, you always want to be taking action. I haven't run into a situation yet where, you'd asked recession, pandemic, anything. Since 1987, I haven't run into anything yet where you would back off on the activity. I don't know. Maybe if Godzilla attacks the city or something, there'll be a case. But for all I know, again, and everything I've run into, action and communicating with people, keeping that communication open is always the most important way to go.
Right. And just changing your approach each time.
Right. Exactly.
Cool. Interesting.
What is one thing that a producer can take away from your presentation that you'll give at our annual convention that they can implement that day or the next day?
Okay. Well,
immediately.
Yeah, they can implement it right now. It's, do more, take more action, make more calls. At the end of the day, before you knock off at the end of the day, make one more call. Come in a little bit earlier, make one more call in the morning, anything you can do. It's simple. If you want to increase sales, do one thing. Increase your prospecting calls, but let's say you want to increase sales by 20%. Increase your prospecting calls by 20%. If you make 10 calls in a day, you're going to make 12. Okay, because the law averages, the way you do everything is the same. Your prospecting is the same, your calls the same, your presentation's the same, your answers to objections, everything's the same. Okay, but looking at the law of numbers and the law of averages, if you simply make 20% more calls, you'll increase your sales by 20%. And then if you want another bonus on top of that, it's get better at selling, get better at each part of the process. Because as you get better, then that equals exponential sales. You don't just go up by 20%, but when you're doing everything better, then you're talking to people better, you're qualifying better, you're talking to more of the right people you should be talking to, you're closing better, you're building relationships better, you're asking for referrals better, you're doing everything else better. Then that 20% growth becomes exponential. But again, if I were going to give one thing, increase activity. Reach out to more people. Think of the person you're afraid to call. Think of that call you've been putting off a week, 2 weeks, a month, 6 months. Just don't think about it. Just pick up the phone, dial the number, and call that person right now.
Right. Like, what's the worst that could happen?
Exactly. Yeah, you're not going to die. No one ever died from prospecting that I know of in 33 years. So yeah, at the rejection. But you always say, what's the worst thing that can happen? And you go, here's the worst thing that can happen. Can I accept that? Yeah, great. And just make the call.
And you just move forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you, John.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Last question. What is one piece of advice that you would give to any new agents coming into the insurance industry?
Be a sponge. Learn as much as you can learn. Okay. Become a student of insurance and selling. Okay. Most important skill for this industry is selling. It's sales skills. Okay. So you want to learn your sales skills, but you're also going to have to learn the industry. The other thing I've noticed is a lot of agents coming in right now. I haven't seen the work ethic that I've really seen in the past. So, be tough on yourself. Expect to go out and work harder than everybody else. My goal when I started as a stockbroker in 1987 was to be in the office before everybody else, leave after everyone else. That was the goal, outwork everybody else. Okay. But what I would say is, again, look at this as a career. Okay. Look at what you want to get out of it. What do you want for yourself, for your life eventually? Because this can take you there. You can make enough money to basically go wherever you want to go. So know why you're there. And then again, get to work, become a sponge, learn as much as you can learn, and just work really, really hard. Outwork, make it your goal to be the hardest worker in the office or the hardest worker
For sure.
I'm sorry, yes for one, and I have a habit of giving like 3. But
no, that's
anyway.
Perfect. Thank you. So, John,
you're
if
welcome.
anyone has any questions to follow up after this interview or to find out more about you, where can they find you?
Simple. Go to my website, CompleteSelling.com. So that's complete as in total, selling as in to sell, .com. So CompleteSelling.com.
Total to sell.
And we look forward to having you do your presentation during our first virtual convention. It's very exciting, taking new steps, doing new things.
Right.
I happen to like change, so
it's good.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, I would say the person who can adapt, the person who appreciates change and can adapt to change the quickest, usually does the best.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. They say, why does a cockroach survive a nuclear war? It adapts the fastest.
Right.
Not telling anyone out there to be a cockroach, but anyway. But the theory's good.
Right.
Oh, yeah. True.
Yes, we will see you on September 28th and 29th at our first virtual convention. If you would like to sign up, you can go to our website at nhaia.com. Click on the banner that says the virtual convention, and that'll bring you straight to the registration page. So super excited to see everyone there and to have it, I guess, to host it. Thank you again, John, and I hope you have a great rest of your afternoon.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you, John.
Thanks.